Counselor Baker.
Here.
Counselor Siomo. Counselor Flaherty. Counselor Jackson. Counselor Lamatina.
Here.
Counselor Linehan.
Here.
Counselor McCarthy.
Here.
Counselor Murphy. Counselor O'Malley. Counselor Presley. Counselor Wu. Counselor Yancey. And Counselor Zachem. Mr. President,
I've been informed by the clerk that a quorum is present. We'll give the East Boston High School hockey team an opportunity to get settled here quickly. And so I would like at this time to ask all counselors and guests to please rise. And I'll ask Counselor McCarthy to come to the podium to introduce today's clergy. And after the invocation is delivered, I would ask all members and guests to remain standing as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance led by Counselor McCarthy. Counselor McCarthy, you have the podium.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Today I am very proud to have a dear friend of mine, Sister Nancy Braceland, here. She's from the Casserly House in Rosendale. First time I met Sister Nancy, I was in Public Works, and we were dealing with a memorial of a young person who had been murdered. And you know, her outreach to the community, her outreach to so many cultures in our neighborhood of Rosendale, especially in that Archdale area, is so important. And she's truly a calming factor in that neighborhood. The Casserly House has three major components: adult ESOL. The second is after-school program supporting kids from the 2nd to the 6th grade. And the third is what I alluded to earlier, really being a tight part of the neighborhood, making sure the neighborhood stays as one. And Sister Nancy and her entire crew do such a wonderful job in that area of Rosendale. And I'm very honored to have her here today. Sister Nancy.
Let me begin by thanking you for inviting me to be with you in this council chamber, which for me is really sacred space. You, the city councilors, Mayor Walsh, and we, the residents of Boston, all have the same prayer. Please, God, no more snow. And the days have been busy with plowing and shoveling and clearing hydrants, but life does go on, and there is life after winter storms. And so we pray. Our God, who has so many winter names, we ask you to be with us today as again we bring to this council the many issues so important to the building up of this city of God. Creator God, be with us as we listen to the residents and to each other about this city that we all love, working together in the present with many hopes for the future. Encourage us to move forward with our eyes open to the diverse populations in our neighborhoods and to the most vulnerable among us who barely survive each day. May we green our city as responsible citizens who believe in and dream for a more sustainable Boston for our children. Be with us as we face the challenges, tragedies, and complex decisions that need to be made. And may we face them with a spirit of respect and cooperation. Loving God, may Boston Strong be stronger because of the decisions that are made in this sacred place, this council chamber. Amen.
Thank you, Sister Nancy. Thank you for those inspiring words and and meaningful statements. At this time, Councilor McCarthy will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you, Councilor McCarthy, and thank you, Sister Nancy Braceland. Okay. Madam Clerk, please record that Councilor Jackson is here. I'd like, just before I introduce our first guest, that I had some shamrocks as a small token of my appreciation, and something that you can wear over the St. Patrick's Day holidays, placed just below the microphone for each of you. And you're welcome to either wear them today or wear them over the holiday season, but a little gift from me to you. So in light of that, my next guest is the mayor of County Clare in Ireland. Recently, many of the Irish counties have merged with the municipalities and city government and created one mayor. So the mayor is the mayor of the county. And it's happened in Limerick, and it's happened in a host of other places. And we have with us John Crow. So John, would you please make your way? He's the one with the fancy necklace. So as I was in Ireland last year celebrating St. Patrick's Day, he's here in America celebrating St. Patrick's Day. We do that a lot, right? Yes, we do, John. I have a resolution on behalf of the Boston City Council. I'll read it quickly and then give you an opportunity to say a few words. So, resolution of the Boston City Council. The Boston City Council extends its thank you and congratulations to the Mayor of Clare, John Crow, and whereas Councillor John Crow of 6 Mile Bridge was elected Mayor of Clare at the County Council AMG on June 6, 2014. Councillor Crow was nominated by poll topper Joe Cooney, and seconded by the independent Jerry Flynn. The Fine Gael councillor is the county's outgoing deputy mayor. Councillor Crow will be the only Fine Gael member to hold this position of mayor over a 5-year term of new authority. So you're like the council president here. Huh. We should change our form of government. Mayor John Crow has used his work to help raise awareness and donations to many organizations. The mayor held a charity banquet that raised over $25,000. Actually, it was 24.7 euro. So clearly a significant amount of money. And I was told that that he sang and brought the house down that particular day. So I don't particularly like competition, so we will not have John Crow sing today. Because I heard he's real good. So resolved that the Boston City Council and meeting assembled does hereby wholeheartedly congratulate, thank Mayor John Crow for his many years of dedication and commitment to politics, and declares Wednesday, March 11, 2015, Mayor John Crow Day here in the city of Boston. Congratulations.
Thanks very much indeed, and I want to thank the President for meeting, and it is an absolute honour to be here with you today. As I say, we came from County Clare 2 days ago. The connections that we have with Boston, we're here to nurture them and try and do what we can, because there is a flight from Shannon to Boston a couple of times a week, and we're here. There's a lot of Irish people in Boston, and that was one of the reasons that we chose to come here. And hospitality that we've got since we came, the Chief Executive and myself, Tom Coughlin, and we want to thank you for your hospitality. And hopefully the President will come back next year to the St. Patrick's Day Parade in County Clare. Thanks very much.
You heard it.
Thanks.
So you all can come up and we'll take a pic, please. a picture with the entire council. Please step right in. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds. You'd think she was queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. Smile. Awesome.
I hope somebody had their camera on video rather than.
We'll send you a tape. This is all video. Right. Thank you very
Thanks
much.
very much indeed. And thank
Yeah,
you
John,
again.
no, it's a pleasure.
Thank
Tom.
you indeed.
Yep, good to see you.
Thank you very much.
We'll look you up the next time we're over. I think John's trying to get me in trouble, inviting me over on St. Patrick's Day. All right, this time I'd like to ask Councilor LaMartina. Where is Councilor LaMartina? Gentlemen? Councilor LaMartina? Yep. And would like to invite the East Boston High School hockey team down to join us all right here. Come on, all of you. Coaches, supporters, teammates. Councilor LaMartina.
Thank you, Mr. President. Come on, folks. Kids. Thank you, Mr. President. It's my honor today to welcome my alma mater to City Hall, East Boston High School. I graduated East Boston High School in 1978, a long time ago. But this year, the East Boston High School under head coach Bob Anthony of the Boston Police, Bob Anthony, they won their first city championship since 2008. And they defeated Boston. They defeated Boston Latin Academy 4-3 last month to capture the title. Interestingly, when I went to high school, there were 14 hockey teams in the city of Boston. Today, there's 4. And our hockey team today, majority of them are from East Boston, but we do have 3 or 4 from Charlestown. And we do have one player, where's Roach, from South Boston? Where is he? From South Boston. That's on our team. And yeah, I can save it that way. So I was telling the hockey players, I remember as a kid, East Boston and South Boston room together would not be nice in those days. And because there were some really good hockey teams, Hyde Park, South Boston, Charlestown, they really had some really good hockey teams. But I want to thank Coach Anthony, and where's the headmaster, Phil Regiforti, and the headmaster for keeping the hockey program strong at East Boston High School. Because as you see the kids today, they're all in ties, and it's something that they do at East Boston High School. For all the kids that are participating in sports, it's very important that they do well in their classrooms. And the Coach Anthony, is always checking and making sure that they're doing well. But I also, at this time, I want to bring out Crystal Zimmerly from Charlestown. Where's Crystal? Where is she? Get over here, Crystal. So Crystal, female hockey player in the city of Boston to play on a male team, all boys team. And she's from Charlestown, and she plays defense, and you don't want to mess with Crystal. All right? She's a really high school and the work that they do. At the same time, I want to remember Coach Jessel, who was a longtime coach at East Boston High School, who passed away last week. He was a hockey coach for 26 years at East Boston High School, and he was a Charlestown resident. So we remember Coach Jessel today. But I want to recognize the team manager. Where's Rocco? Come over here. The team manager is Rocco Odessa. So, Coach Chancellor, please come up here so I can present you a citation. Huh? All right. And before the coach comes up here, and actually you can say it. You have a few words to say. All right. But his a City of Boston official resolution be resolved that the Boston City Council extends its congratulations to East Boston High School hockey team in recognition of your hard-fought win in the 2015 City Championship, and be it further resolved that the Boston City Council extends its best wishes for continued success, that this resolution be duly signed by the President of the City Council and attested to, and a copy thereof transmitted by the Clerk of the City of Boston, and is signed by the President, Bill Linehan, and Maureen Feeney and myself. So congratulations to you and your team. I appreciate it. Job well done.
Thank you. I won't take too much of your time. I know you're very busy, but we're trying to get some more money into the athletics in Boston. I just have to thank my coaches, Dennis Burnaby Jr., and Jeff Aranella. Also, that this team also had a fundraiser at the beginning of this year where we raised $2,000 under the name of Anthony Albano, and we're given a scholarship at East Boston High School. Played for Anthony Albano, and everybody wore on their helmet an Albano sticker and a decal, and I think it actually pushed us over the edge. And thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to invite all my counselors up for a picture. We're all gonna fit. Don't worry about it. Oh, you're gonna duck us? You're hiding us?
I don't know where to look. Look at the back of the wall. No, then I'll be looking up.
You ready? One more. Oh, we're gonna have a pizza pie now. Come on, kids.
No, it's that one. That one. Oh, the message here.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll let Richie know. Oh, yeah. Plus we cool. Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Councilor LaMartina. Thank you, coaches, headmaster, and especially students and the hockey team for the great effort that they provided this year as the City Hockey Champions. If there are no corrections to be made, the minutes of last meeting will stand approved. Hearing and seeing no objections, the minutes are so approved. Communications from His Honor the Mayor, Madam Clerk, please.
Docket number 0495, message and order authorizing the City of Boston's Transportation Department to accept and expend a grant from the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, MassDOT, in an amount not to exceed $3,159,403 to fund a majority of the Phase 1 design and engineering services for the Rutherford Ave Improvement Project.
Docket 0495 will be assigned to the Committee on City, Neighborhood Services, and Veterans Affairs.
Docket number 0496, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest for its accelerated repairs program for the Carter Development Daycare School.
Hold on one quick recess. It already passed? It already had? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So docket 0496 will be assigned to the Committee on Education. Okay. The meeting will be back in session. Docket 0496 will be assigned to the Committee on Ways and Means. Reports of public officers and others, Madam Clerk, please.
Mr. President, would you like me to read?
Yeah, could you read docket 0497 through 0500?
Thank you, Mr. President. Docket number 0497, communication was received from the Boston Retirement Board regarding consideration of retirees' cost of living adjustment and base increase known as COLA for FY16. Docket number 0498, notice was received from the mayor of the appointment of Lisa Soley to serve as a trustee to the Boston Groundwater Trust for a term expiring March 1st, 2017. Docket number 0499, notice was received from the mayor of the appointment of Charlotte Moffett to serve as an ex officio member of the Boston Groundwater Trust. And docket number 0500, communication was received from the Fort Point Associates regarding notice of project change for the Clippership Wharf Development Project.
Dockets 0497 through docket 0500 will be placed on file. Matters recently heard for possible action, Madam Clerk.
Docket number 0421, order for hearing to discuss additional 911 data for faster, more effective response.
Chair recognizes the Chair on the Committee on Public Safety, Councilor Murphy, on docket 0421.
Thank you, Mr. President. We held a hearing yesterday on docket 0421. It is the second in a series of hearings that Councilor Flaherty, my vice chair, and I are holding to try to make 911 response time diminish it, reduce it in the city of Boston by using new technologies that were not available when our enhanced 911 system was put together a few years ago over at Schroeder Plaza. This particular E911 platform would allow for more information at point of contact. So it would develop for each cell phone, and most of these calls are coming in on cell phone directly to Boston. They would have a profile for the person who is calling under the name, and they would have medical information. If somebody's allergic to a certain medication, it would be on there. If there is a pet on the premise, it would be there. Additional information, it might say, if it's a big building like International Place, what floor the person is calling from, in case it was a fire or some. So it would get emergency responders to the scene quicker. And we all been told, and we know from firsthand, that the quicker the response, the better chance lives can be saved. So Councilor Flaherty, I want to commend him for joining me in this effort. This is the second of 2 hearings we've held. We put forward some products that hopefully the police department and the school police can agree will make Boston's schools, buildings, and residences safer if we can adopt this type of technology. Thank you, Mr. President. This matter will be placed on file at this point.
Thank you, Councilor Murphy. Docket 0421 will be placed on file.
Docket number 0246, message and order authorizing the police commissioner to accept and expend $50,000 from the Executive Office of Health and Human Services Department of the Public Health for the purpose of supporting the naloxone Narcan program.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on Public Safety, Councilor Murphy, on docket 0246.
Thank you, Mr. President. Docket 0246, we had a committee meeting yesterday, and at this point in time, I'm recommending the passage of docket 0246 so that each and every police vehicle and police officer, not just vehicles, but bicycles, motorcycles, can have the antidote Narcan on the person to get, if there's an overdose occurring, and we've heard these problems, they've been brought to our attention in prior years. There's now money available from the state to help fund this, and I recommend that we accept that money and begin the funding of it to save lives. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Murphy. Councilor Jackson.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I actually wanted to speak on the prior issue, but I do think naloxone being available to as many people and as many trained people as possible is absolutely critical. Naloxone is a life-saving drug that knocks the opioid off of the opioid receptor and actually allows people to actually live. So it's a really important drug. But I just want to thank Councilor Murphy for bringing up E911. We have to figure out 911. We have a resident of Roxbury who recently died because his phone was purchased in New Bedford, and he had a New Bedford phone number. So when his wife picked up the phone to dial 911, it went to New Bedford, then to the state police, and then to Boston Police, and then Boston Police Department and EMS, and then they couldn't find the home. So I think it's absolutely critical in this day and age that we are able to cut through the chase, and we actually have a 911 system that connects directly based on the actual tower rather than where the phone call was originated. And we know we've had these problems where you dial 911 from a cell phone and it goes to the state police. We need a direct 911 system, and we need a smarter 911 system that remembers. And this actually, for people who are chronically ill, this makes a lot of sense. And also for patients who have dementia, this makes even more sense. So I want to thank Councilor Murphy for his leadership in making the city safer on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Jackson. Thank you, Councilor Murphy, for that. And I carry the antidote Narcan with me in my briefcase. It's just something that it's very simple to administer. It takes 3 minutes for someone to show you. It's done through the nose, and you may save somebody's life. We're running into people who are clearly intoxicated and overdosing around heroin and opiates. So it wouldn't be a bad idea. So Councilor Murphy moves acceptance of the committee report and passage of docket 0246. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0246 has passed.
Docket now.
Councilor Yancey, you had your button pressed? Okay, sorry.
Docket number 0343, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend funds from the United States Department of Homeland Security Port Security Grant Program, FY15, in the amount of $472,500. This grant was made for the purpose of designing and constructing a new dock facility for the Boston Fire Marine Unit.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on Public Safety, Councilor Murphy, on docket 0343.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had the hearing on 0343 yesterday, along with 0246. Deputy Chief Jerry Fontana from the Boston Fire Department was here. he explained that this grant of $472,000 is actually paying for 80% of a new dock, which is to be built right at the spot of the current dock, which is made out of concrete and is not really up to code or snuff for the Boston Fire Department now. So we're getting 80% of it from federal Homeland Security funds. The other 20%, or roughly $120,000, is coming out of the city's capital budget. And it would be a vast improvement on what they're using right now, and would be able to house not only the 70-foot new boat that we spent, the city and Homeland Security together spent about $14 million on it. It would fund, also house the diving boat and the old fire boat there on premise on Commercial Street in the North End. So I move acceptance of the committee report and passage so that we can get the design phase of this begin right away. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Murphy. Councilor Murphy moves acceptance of the committee report and passage of docket 0343. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0343 has passed.
Docket number 0379, message and order authorizing the Office of Environment, Energy, and Open Space to accept and expend a grant of $3,680,000 from the Massachusetts Department of Energy Resources Renewable and Alternative Energy Division Community Clean Energy Resiliency Initiative Project.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on Environment and Parks, Councilor O'Malley, on docket 0379.
The Environment and Parks Committee held a public hearing yesterday, Tuesday, March 10th, regarding a message and order authorizing the city's Office of Environment, Energy, and Open Space to accept and expend a grant of $3.68 million from the Massachusetts Department of Energy Resources Renewable and Alternative Energy Division Community Clean Energy Resiliency Initiative Project. Clearly, the state is known for having concise and pithy grant names. Joseph LaRusso, the city's Energy Efficiency and Distributed Generation Finance Manager, testified alongside Bob Biggio, who's the Vice President of Facilities and Support at Boston Medical Center. The city will use these funds to update sustainable energy technology at the Boston Medical Center Menino campus. The grant will fund engineering, controls, electrical switchgear, and wiring required to operate a 2-megawatt combined heat and power unit at the BMC Menino campus in the event of a power outage. The BMC will finance the balance of the project costs, and no city funds will be required to complete the project. The total cost of this project is about $15 million. This grant covers just above $3.5 million. And this is where it gets interesting. We've had a similar grant like this allowing for technology for solar-powered generators at 4 community centers, obviously public project. This is a hybrid of the two. It goes to Boston Medical Center's Menino campus as backup power, but it also, the reason why the grant was awarded and the reason why I'm speaking about it to all of you today is that this is the public-private partnership in the truest sense of the form. Because while the equipment will be largely financed from BMC, it will also provide backup energy resources for the regional communications infrastructure on Northampton Street, which is right across the street from the Menino campus. This will support the following critical functions in the case of emergency: Boston Public Health Commission Emergency Medical Services Telecommunications, EMS, Boston Optical Network required to operate the city's public safety radio, the Boston Fire Department's Energy Communications, and the Boston Police Department's Emergency Communications, as well as the city's shot spotter technology. So again, should there be a natural disaster, some other large catastrophic event that renders much of the communication in the city obsolete, at least for our emergency medical EMS, BFD, BPD, and others, this will allow us to have a backup generator. It's really a terrific partnership. It's a great thing. This is a win-win all around, win for Boston Medical Center, clearly a win for the city of Boston, and look forward to continuing to partner with the state and our Office of Energy and Open Space and the Environment. This is a great thing. No taxpayer money. We've just been awarded this grant. So I urge all of my good colleagues to vote favorably presently. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. Councilor O'Malley moves acceptance of the committee report and passage of docket 0379. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0379 has passed.
Docket number 0477, message in order for the approval of a home rule petition to the General Court entitled Petition for a Special Law Regarding an Act Relative to Snow Removal Penalties.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on Government Operations, Councilor Flaherty, on docket 0477.
Thank you, Mr. President. We held a hearing yesterday that was well attended by our colleagues here, and at this time recommending passage in a new draft. We heard from Commissioner Dennehy and Director Tankel of Code Enforcement, heard concerns from constituents, and got tremendous feedback from colleagues. As a result, we've put together a new draft that clearly states the intention of this home rule petition, which is to raise the maximum fine for commercial entities removing snow, slush, or ice from their property and actually putting it back into the city streets. State law currently provides a maximum fine for snow removal at $300. This home rule petition would increase the maximum penalty up to $1,500. The new draft excludes property owners of buildings with 6 units or less. And just to clarify, as stated in the mayor's transmittal letter, it's a two-phase process. First phase is that we're sending this up to the legislature to get the ability to up the limits of what we consider to be antiquated, because it's not a deterrent for commercial entities that we saw. We heard the challenges that our Public Works Commission was dealing with and the frustrations, and all of our phones were ringing from residents that were looking for snow removal, and you saw mounds going from 5 feet to 7 feet to 10 feet, in some instances 20 feet, and then Public Works would come and clear that intersection, only to, within hours later, a private entity would find that that would be a perfect spot to dump their snow. So, and then the second phase would be if they allow us the ability to lift the cap and to go up to $1,500, we, the council, would obviously have to make a code change as well. So we'll get another bite of the apple, which will allow us to put together categories to make sure that we're protecting residents. At the same time, we're dealing with, say, repeat offenders, but really tracking down those that were causing lots of problems. And why we're looking to expedite is because the legislature is currently considering supplemental budget items right now, which include snow and ice provisions, and it's important that we get this matter before them to be added so that we could be ready for the next snow season. So with that, any questions through the chair, happy to entertain them, but this was really as a result of that hearing that we held and the feedback we got from colleagues, and making sure that we're protecting residents. This isn't about going after those that through physical limitations or because they don't have the ability to get out there and remove snow and ice. This is clearly driven to go after those that were causing a lot of the problems that our offices were receiving phone calls from. So great work on behalf of Intergovernmental Relations. James and Jake and Timmy Sullivan worked extremely hard with our staff. Christine O'Donnell did a phenomenal job working with the law department, given that when you came to the hearing last night, if you were reading what was in front of us and you participated in the hearing and heard the testimony, and I know that there was an individual watching from home who was sick but was sending in feedback, and you probably thought you were at two different hearings. And so great effort on behalf of the aforementioned to get this back on track, to really go at the spirit and the intention of what we're trying to accomplish here, working with our mayor to track down those that took advantage of the high amounts of snow, to remove snow and ice from private companies, from corporations, and to dump those back into the streets of Boston, and preventing our team of Public Works and Code Enforcement for doing their job. In the same token, you talk to residents, and Councilor Jackson and I were talking earlier about there are still some streets that you're still seeing large amounts of snow, and you saw Public Works have to redouble and triple and quadruple their efforts, because not only were they just keeping up with the snowfall, but they also now had to keep up with and compete with private entities and private companies that saw fit to dump snow wherever they felt that was appropriate, as opposed to removing it as they're compensated for by property owners. So that's it in a nutshell. Looking again, Mr. President, to pass 0477, get that home rule petition up to the legislature, let them do their thing, give us the ability to lift the fines up to $1,500, and we go back to the drawing board and carve out the categories so that when the code enforcement's out there doing their job on our behalf, they have a menu of who they can ticket, when they can ticket, how they can ticket, and how much they can ticket. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Flaherty. Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just rise to acknowledge the good and important work that this body is doing in regard to snow removal strategy, oversight, review. This is obviously an initiative that was authored by Mayor Walsh, but I think it's strengthened and better because of the chairman's work and the work of many of our colleagues. There's a cleanup hearing scheduled for next Monday that I called for that's going to talk about the unique challenges posed with cleaning up after 8 feet of snow in a short period of time and what the streets look like. And then the week after that is the initiative of Councilor McCarthy and Councilor Sioma, which we all signed on. It's going to review the snow removal. And I think good things were done, but clearly there's room for improvement. And we need to look at strategies that worked, strategies that didn't work, also new tools in our arsenal. I think this is one of them. So I just rise to note my support of this language in the new draft. I think the focus should be and ought to be, and clearly the intent of the mayor was to go after not residents, but businesses and commercial places. And, with a little bit more incentive, with a higher fine, I hope that we never have to enforce this or collect these fines, because people will know that we need to be good neighbors, and businesses particularly need to do a better job working with their neighbors in the neighborhood in the city of Boston to make sure that there are clean, passable, safe sidewalks and thoroughfares for all residents and people who work and live in the city alike. So we'll be voting in favor of this.
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. Councilor Yancey.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to thank the administration, particularly the Public Works Department, for its Herculean efforts to deal with the unprecedented amount of snow that the city of Boston was burying under in February. And while many challenges remain, as Councilor Jackson mentioned, we should give a great deal of support and credit to the city employees that have been working tirelessly to address the issue. Mr. President, initially I was going to vote against this because there was a lot of confusion in the media and the general public, and overwhelmingly the calls my office received was against it, because many people believe that what we were proposing, what the mayor proposed, was to increase the fine from $300 for unpaved, unshoveled sidewalks to $1,500 indiscriminately. Now, we know that was not the case, but that was the perception. I am more comfortable with the amended language, just as long as when we vote on this, we're voting on the amended language only. The package in front of us includes the original submittal of the mayor, which has the docket number, I believe, 477. This is a substitute, I believe, or an amended version of that, and I just want to make sure that that's clear in terms of what we're voting on today, and that it will be communicated to the public that what we're targeting are the commercial players in all this, rather than a senior citizen who's having a tough time clearing his or her sidewalk.
Thank you, Councilor Yancey. Do you have any comment for that, Councilor Flaherty, as chair? Hold on one second.
Requesting passage of Dr. 0477 in a new draft.
That's right.
That's what we're voting on.
So that we're voting on it in a new draft.
And I believe, just for clarification, it was added through the chair to Councilor Yancey's inquiry. It was added just to show the great lengths we went from the original order, which really didn't clarify and speak to that perception that Councilor Yancey referred to, which was really driven by some of the news stories, and to see the input, as Councilor O'Malley had alluded to in his comments, in terms of the great work that this body did in asking those questions, getting the feedback from our Public Works Commissioner, working with the Mayor's Office through Intergovernmental, and also Christine O'Donnell should be commended for the great work that she did at the 11th hour to make sure we got this back on track, and that it made sense and reflected the real clear sentiment and spirit of what we're looking to do here. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councilor Flaherty. Councilor Murphy?
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I'd like to commend the chair and thank him for his leadership on the issue. I've been around a long time, 19 years on the Boston City Council, and this was one of the more positive hearings in terms of public process and give and take than I have ever witnessed in those 19 years. The administration came in with an ask The ask that they verbally asked was different than the ask that was on the paperwork supporting that ask. Each and every member of the city council, and there were a supermajority of members here, and it was a late hearing yesterday, asked very pointed questions and made statements to the effect that the administration had to rework this in order to get it done. And we learned through the chair's good work and the good work of staff that there is a move afoot at the State House that they're trying to get this language in front of in a fast manner. And it was very dispositive. The chair worked hard this morning. Our staff, the law department, city's intergovernmental relations people all work together on the same page to craft something that now the story and the paperwork match. And we all, I believe I can support it. I don't know if everybody else can, but it's answered the questions that I had at the hearing, and it was done in a positive, fruitful manner. And I look forward to supporting my chair when this comes forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Murphy. Councilor Jackson.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And as Councilor Yancey noted, I would have, if I had to vote on this yesterday, I would have definitely voted. I would have voted this down. I think when we look at first, and I think you were right, Mr. President, the timing for this is not optimal by any means of the definition. I still have streets in all over my district that are that need to have snow removed. So the timing is not good at all. But I will note the initial proposal said it was commercial, but the actual the title said it was commercial, but in the body it did not represent what the title said. And I just want to be very clear in reading into the record some of the changes that were able to move me. Section 1, notwithstanding any general or special law to the contrary, the City of Boston by ordinance may impose a fine of up to $1,500 on any person who, in the conduct of commercial snow removal, removes snow, slush, or ice from any property, public or private, and places it upon a public way. For the purposes of this section, commercial snow removal shall mean snow plowing or shoveling conducted by or on behalf of the owner. That's important because it was open last time to residents also who could be potentially fined up to $1,500 in the last rendition. And one of the pieces that was important to me is there's a requirement that if you live at a corner, that you not only shovel the one side, but the other side, but also the corner where there's a curb cut, which is an issue, especially in the city today, because there's many front-end loaders who put lots of snow taller than me on corners. So the language in Section 2 was also tightened up. An owner of a building, estate, or land abutting a sidewalk or curb ramp who fails to remove snow, slush, or ice from abutting sidewalks and curb ramps in accordance with the city ordinance. This shall not apply to owners of buildings containing 6 or fewer residential units. So I think the language does narrow what needs to happen, and I want to just say publicly that we need to not only be punitive in terms of trying to change behavior, but we need to fix the problems. We heard from the public. Someone came forward. Rick Yoder came forward yesterday and said some cities send folks out to shovel and then send them a bill. That's something that we should be thinking about as a council and as a city. So instead of restating the problem or having someone go write a ticket, okay, when we're out there, we're going to send a crew there that deals with some of the employment issues that we have. And then actually begins to move forward and solve the problem. And again, I think these funds should be dedicated to a fund that we could draw people in who are unemployed who actually could go out and make some money for themselves. So I think there's some innovations that we should think forward on this. Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Yep. Thank you, Councilor Jackson. Councilor Murphy, your light is flashed, is it?
Councilor Jackson said something that made me think, which I don't do that often.
Wow,
around
be
here,
careful.
but the Boston Center for Youth and Families runs our summer jobs program. And there are kids over the age of 16 who we have contact information from last summer in our database over there. And they should be reached out to during a snow emergency and be offered the provision, I guess, to go to work clearing snow. It's something that's within our grasp here now, and it's something that I hope the city will consider should this type of a situation befall us again. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Councilor Murphy. And as Councilor O'Malley articulated earlier, there will be 2 more hearings on such matters. And so there'll be a lot more to talk about snow, a lot more time to do that. And so at this time, I'd like, Councilor Flaherty moves acceptance of the committee report and passage of docket 0477 in a new draft. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0477 has passed in a new draft. Motions, orders, and resolutions, Madam Clerk, please.
Docket number 0501, Councilor Presley offered the following order for hearing to ensure diversity and inclusion in the planning, hiring, contracting process for the Boston 2024 Olympic bid.
The chair recognizes Councilor Presley on docket 0501.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, I'm really glad the council has established a special committee on the Olympics. It's really important as councilors that we have a place and a forum to explore the questions that we have personally, but also the questions we have received from constituents in public settings. That those settings, because of format, limited and restrained the opportunity to more comprehensively answer those questions or to have a give and take. This hearing order is self-explanatory. It should not come as a surprise. Nor should anyone be shocked or offended. We, as a body, as a city, are every day striving to be a city that is welcoming and inclusive, that does not just celebrate diversity, but honors it in a meaningful way. Whether we're talking about diversity in our higher ed institutions, within the halls of government, our Boston Public Schools, our Boston Police Department, or private industry, or within our trades. These are the tough questions and conversations that we as a body and as a city have had and need to continue to have in order to move this city forward. Now, I want to be very clear. I'm not saying that anyone in the industries I've just cited or involved with this effort has gone out of their way to intentionally exclude anyone. What I am saying is that we have to be intentional about including everyone. We need to be intentional, we need to be creative, and we need to be consistent. This is not just the principled right thing to do, it's also sound and good business practice. Now, I do have to say, Boston 2024 has been very accessible to me, receptive to the concerns that I've raised, and I look forward to their participation in the forum where we can better hear from them in response to these questions raised, how they plan to intentionally build in an equity and opportunity in decision-making, in power sharing, in wealth building for women, for people of color, for the disabled community, and for the LGBT community. It's important that everyone have an equity and opportunity not only in benefiting from these successes, but an equity and opportunity to contribute to them. So I look forward to the hearing, and I hope you'll participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Presley. Councilor Yancey.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. During the hearing that you convened last week, Mr. Davies piqued my interest a little bit when he said we will build that new high school. Mr. President, the issue brought to our attention by Councilor Presley is a very serious one. Of course, I'd like to have my name added. And parenthetically, I think the city itself should lead by example with regards to its contracting activities as well. But I believe that if the Boston 2024 Olympic Committee is successful in presenting a plan that is truly inclusive of Boston residents, of women and people of color, the disabled community, the LGBT community, and so many others, that is going to increase the likelihood of success. So it'll be a good business decision for them to do that. So I'd like to have my name added, and again, based on my review of the city's hiring practices and the city's contracting practices, this city has a long way to go as well. We've made some progress, but particularly in the contracting area, it's almost an embarrassment to see how few businesses owned by women and people of color are actually participating in vendor opportunities which exceed billions of dollars every year. Thank you very much, and again, I'd like to have my name added and commend the maker, of course.
Please add, thank you, Councilor Yancey. Please add Councilor Yancey's name. Add Councilor Zakim's name, Councilor Wu's name, Councilor Flaherty's name, Councilor LaMattina. Please add the chair's name. Councilor Jackson, you have the floor. All right, I'll get to next time around.
Mr. President, I rise to compliment the author of this. This is something that we have to be deliberate about. And if we do what we've always done, we're going to get what we've always gotten. And so when we think about a 9-year runway for folks to get ready, and it's funny, I was actually talking to someone, they were like, yeah, we're doing this for the kids. Well, a 9-year-old, when the Olympics comes, is going to be 18, right? So we have an opportunity, 9 whole years for businesses to get ready, for communities to get ready. And if we are not deliberate in economic inclusion, then we will not end up on the right side of history when it comes to Boston 2024. So I think it's absolutely critical that we are deliberate in doing this, and people need to be deliberate in stating their actual goals, and those goals need to translate into policies that actually will make a difference. And lastly, we want this Olympics to be good for everyone, and the way that we make it good for everyone is we plan, we put policies in place, and we're deliberate in making it good for everyone. So please add my name, and I look forward to this hearing and an ongoing conversation about this particular topic. All boats should rise if this wave comes in. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Councilor Jackson. Please add Councilor Jackson's name, Councilor Siomo's name, Councilor McCarthy's name, Councilor Murphy, Councilor O'Malley's name. I think everybody else that wanted their name has been already acknowledged. Docket 0501 is assigned to the Special Committee on the 2024 Olympics.
Docket number 0502, Councilors Wu and Zakim offer the following resolution: that the Boston City Council urges the Board of MassDOT to establish permanent late-night tea service.
Chair recognizes the Chair of Special Committee on Transportation, Public Infrastructure, and the docket sponsor of 0502, Councilor Zakim.
I want to thank Councilor Wu for work on this with me, and Dan Shea at Central staff for really organizing a great hearing that was well attended by many of our colleagues, folks from the community, the Future Boston Alliance. MBTA sent their chief financial officer and one of their chief marketing officials, which I thought was a great sign of how seriously the T and MassDOT are taking the issue of late night service and extending it. I think, Councilor Wu will speak a little more on this, but the gist of it was everyone wants to continue late night tea, but we need to be very creative and thoughtful about how we're paying for it. They're running some deficits right now, and as we all know, the T is facing quite a few challenges these days. But the impact beyond just the dollars and cents of how much each ride costs, but the economic impact throughout Boston, throughout the region, of having late night service, of being that draw for our workforce, but for our high-tech workforce and young professionals that we always talk about, but also for the service workers, people who are nurses, doctors, hotel workers, bartenders, and restaurant owners as well, quite a few of whom came and said they're spending a ton of money paying for cabs home in the evenings for their employees because the T isn't running. So that's something that was something that I had not heard too much about before. I think it was a very informative hearing. We're going to urge passage of this resolution so that we can speak with one voice as a city that's most impacted by the T, to continue the late night service, to continue the economic development aspects of that, and to really, it's an issue of equity and social justice as well. So thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Zachem. Councilor O'Malley. Okay, I'm sorry. Councilor Wu.
Thank you, Mr. President. No problem at all. As you heard, it was a very robust hearing that we held last week, and we heard from a huge range of industries involved. Just to go over the numbers very quickly, because that's the big concern. There's a lot of needs that the T is facing in the short and long term. But this, we're talking about the operations budget, and it's an $11 million net cost over this past year's pilot, $13 million in cost. They had $2 million in revenues from ticket sales, mostly, and a little bit from sponsorships. Councilor O'Malley had what I thought was a brilliant idea that I hope he'll speak more about to increase that piece of it. So that $11 million represents less than 1% of the T's operating budget. There's a lot to think about, but that less than 1% really is a huge boost to Boston's economy. And the reason why this pilot came about is because of advocacy from folks in this room, along with then candidate and later Mayor Walsh, the Future Boston Alliance, and other groups representing workers, students, young professionals, artists, and many pieces of Boston. So the T's public comment period closes today, so I want to make sure that we as a council are on record speaking on this issue, and hope that you all will join us in supporting this effort. One point I want to just underscore is that most of all, I think it needs to be about predictability, right? So we can change the type of service that's offered, we can think about the fare structure, we can think about which lines are running how frequently, but most of all, it needs to be longer than a one-year pilot, because for businesses to agree to open up and sign, 10 to 15-year leases, for workers to take on new jobs, they need to know that this will be there more than just the next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Wu. Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier in this meeting, Councilor Murphy talked about the hearing on snow fines yesterday and how it was a really good hearing, and I agree with him. It was a great opportunity for some give and take. And I would also say the hearing that was called by the two previous speakers last week was similarly a very worthwhile hearing with the T, because it was a very honest hearing. I think it's safe to say that we all and most people see enormous value in the late night MBTA service. It has worked well. There were a lot of people that took advantage of it, millions of trips that were taken over the past year, but it is running at a deficit. And maybe it was systemic of a larger issue with the MBTA. So I interpreted the MBTA as saying we want to keep this, help us solve this problem, and credit again to Councilor Zachem and Wu for spearheading this, and I stand with them. There are some ideas we can do. Many MBTA stations have food kiosks, have a Dunkin' Donuts or a small locally owned and operated coffee shop or a pizza joint or, a newsstand. These are all closed at night. I think there's an enormous appetite for allowing a pop-up type shop in some of these stations on the late nights for the weekends. I think there are many hungry people that would love a slice of pizza or something to eat after the end of a long night. And it goes to, again, who this should serve and who this is serving. It's not only the public safety angle of less people driving, if perhaps they've had a couple of drinks, or the hospitality workers and the industry to survive, and the healthcare workers. I mean, this is something that's very, very important. We recognize that it's going to take a lot of creative work and ideas to sustain it, but I think this body is prepared to do whatever it takes to help the state and help the MBTA in meeting that goal. So just wanted to thank them for their leadership, ask that my name be added, and hope that we can vote on this today. Thank you.
Please add Councilor O'Malley's name to this resolution, and Councilor Jackson's name, Councilor Baker, Siomo, Flaherty, Councilor LaMattina, Councilor Presley. Let me see, who is next? Councilor McCarthy.
A phenomenal hearing that we had, and a lot of great ideas were tossed around. And I think what this resolution really does is it's an encouragement. There are ways to figure this out, as Councilor O'Malley talked about, Dunkin' Donuts and other things to build more cost, to alleviate the cost, rather. We talked about the possibility of even raising the ticket prices, less trips, raising the ticket prices, because I know in my statement, hostesses and busboys and bartenders and cleaning staff, to take a taxi from here to Charlestown is one thing. To take a taxi from here to Hyde Park, it's a $50 adventure. Trust me. And having a higher price for these trains, knowing that they can make it at 1 or 1:30 or 2 o'clock, and as Councilor Wu stated, the predictability of having it. And I think that's what this resolution bases it on, and I'm going to be in support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McCarthy. Councilor Yancey?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I too rise to commend our colleagues, Councilor Zachem and Councilor Wu, for staying on top of this issue and continuing the work of Councilor Ross, who also was involved in this in previous years. Mr. President, we invest on an annual basis more than $79 million in assessment to the MBTA. We get a lot in return for that. But I think one of the things that we should demand is that the voices of the people of Boston be heard. And I believe that we live in a city that's very diverse, not just racially and economically, but people have different lifestyles, different work schedules, different marketing activities or recreational and cultural activities taking place in the city of Boston. And we should not miss the opportunity to provide this additional service on a year-round basis every year, in part to improve the image of the T that took an enormous beating because it could not really perform during the worst snowstorm we've had in the city of Boston. So this will be a good PR effort on the part of the MBTA, as well as providing some very real and necessary services to the people of Boston who really deserve it, and quite frankly, we're paying for it. So I would like to commend our two colleagues, Councilor Wu and Councilor Zachem, and like to join them by adding my name.
Please add, thank you, Councilor Yancey. Please add Councilor Yancey's name. Councilor LaMattina. You just wanted your name added? Yes. And add Councilor LaMattina's name if it has not been added. And Councilor McCarthy's name. Okay. Councilor Zachem and Councilor Wu move for adoption of docket 0502. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0502 is adopted. Excuse me? Madam Clerk, Councilor LaMattina doubts the vote. Could you please read the roll?
Councilor Baker.
Yes.
Councilor Baker, yes. Councilor Siomo. Yes. Councilor Siomo, yes. Councilor Flaherty. Yes. Councilor Flaherty, yes. Councilor Jackson. Yes. Councilor Jackson, yes. Councilor LaMattina. Councilor LaMattina, yes. Councilor Linehan.
Yes.
Councilor Linehan, yes. Councilor McCarthy. Yes. Councilor McCarthy, yes. Councilor Murphy. Councilor Murphy, yes. Councilor O'Malley. Yes. Councilor O'Malley, yes. Councilor Presley. Councilor Presley, yes. Councilor Wu. Councilor Wu, yes. Councilor Yancey. Councilor Yancey, yes. And Councilor Zachem. Mr. President, we have a unanimous
I've been
vote.
informed by the clerk that there's a unanimous vote on docket 0502 to be adopted. Late file. Madam Clerk. There are 3 late file matters in the hands of the clerk, which in the absence of objection will be added to today's agenda. Hearing no objection, the matters are so added. The clerk will read the first addition to the agenda, and that would be, we'll do personnel orders first.
Thank you, Mr. President. March 10th, 2015, Councilor Bill Linehan for Councilor Murphy. Ordered that
Councilor Murphy moves acceptance and passage of the first late file matter. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The first late file matter is passed.
Second late file matter, March 10th, 2015, Councilor Bill Linehan for Councilor LaMattina.
Councilor LaMattina moves that the second late file matter is voted and passed, and that all those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the second late file personnel matter is is passed.
The third late file matter offered by City Councilor Ayanna Pressley, order for hearing to discuss comprehensive approach to reduce sex trafficking around mega sport events such as the Olympics. Whereas the Olympic Games and other major world sporting events, including the World Cup and Super Bowl, are widely recognized as sex trafficking hubs. Therefore, be it ordered that the appropriate committee of the Boston City Council hold a hearing to discuss comprehensive approaches to reduce sex trafficking around mega sporting events such as the Olympics, and that representatives from Boston 2024, the Boston Police Department, and other interested parties be invited to testify.
The chair recognizes Councilor Pressley.
Thank you, Mr. President. My apologies for the late file, but I wanted to do this in the wake of a recent public meeting about the Olympics, and someone stood and asked if the Olympics were to come to Boston, what efforts would be taken to address what usually is an uptick in sexual trafficking in correlation with mega sporting events, the Super Bowl, the Olympics, etc. And people in the room laughed. And again, I'm very appreciative that we have this special committee, because I think we can create a safe space here at City Hall for folks to discuss what is a real and very important issue. I do want to take this opportunity to commend and thank our mayor, Marty Walsh, for his leadership in this space. People like Donna Gavin, Councilor Baker, advocates for My Life, My Choice, Ambassador Swanee Hunt's demand abolition. This is an issue that we have collectively been banging the drum on for quite some time, and it is encouraging to see the new commitment to address what really is a pervasive issue. And so in the spirit of the fact that we have so much leadership and collective will dedicated to working on this issue, again, I just want to make sure in the context of the Olympics that we're having honest conversations about how to combat, reduce, mitigate the issue of sex trafficking, again, given great research and analysis that points to the correlation between an uptick in sex trafficking when there are mega sporting events. So I look forward to the hearing, and I hope you'll participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Pressley. Councilor Zakin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank Councilor Pressley for filing this order and for the continued focus she has on protecting women and girls in the city of Boston and beyond. This is something that I saw also some news reports of this encounter at one of the Olympic community meetings, and I was a little troubled, and the statistics here in the hearing order sort of bear that out, is that if we're going to showcase all the great things that Boston has, we also need to be showcasing that we take this issue very seriously, and that Boston is not going to become a hub for this sort of activity. Whether the Olympics are here or not, I think it's an important issue to address. So please add my name. I'd like to thank Councilor Pressley for bringing this forward.
Thank you, Councilor Zakin. Please add Councilor Zakin's name. Councilor Baker, add Councilor Baker's name. Councilor Siomo, Councilor Flaherty, Councilor Jackson, Councilor Amatina, Councilor McCarthy, Councilor O'Malley, Councilor Wu, and Councilor Yancey. Okay, so all the other lights were good, right? Well, thank you, Councilor Pressley, for that. Please add my name to that matter, and that third late file matter will be submitted to the special committee on Boston 2024 Olympics. At this time, are there any green sheets? Anyone interested in the green sheets? Okay, that sounds good. And there are 8 late file matters which, in absence of objection, will be added to today's consent agenda. Hearing no objections, the matters are so added. The chair moves adoption of the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The consent agenda is adopted. I don't see any flashing, so I'm going to take the opportunity to do a little special something for you on St. Patrick's Day prior to memorialization. So you all know the song, It's Danny Boy. It happens to be a song about a parent talking to a son who has not come back prior to he or she's death. So I'm going to do that song for you, if you don't mind. Well, okay, we'll give it a shot. You have an opportunity. Go ahead. Any objections? Do I hear any? And I'm not using this as a practice for any other event, because I don't generally play the song. I just think it's appropriate, and also I think it's a nice way for all of us to go into the high holidays. I hope you all have a great St. Patrick's Day. Let's see if Kerry's on cue here, you know. Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen, oh, and down the mountainside. The summer's gone, and all the flowers have died. 'Tis you, and I must part you by. Oh, call me back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. Till I be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. And when she comes and all the roses have died, as dead, oh, as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say, oh, an Ave left for me. And I will hear that soft heat tread above me, and now my grave oh, shall warmer and sweeter be, and you will bend and tell me that you love me, and there in peace I'll lie until you come to me. Oh, Danny boy. So at this time, I ask you, we've already risen. Thank you for that. Thank you. And all guests to rise, please. As we close today's meeting in the memory of the following individuals. For Councilor Siomo, the Honorable Norman S. Weinberg. For Councilor LaMartina, Antoinette Tony Johnson, Arthur A. Gambale, and Anthony Vigorito. For Councilor Murphy and McCarthy, Maurice Pickup. For Councilor Flaherty, Carlos Quintero. For Councilor Yancey, Muriel J. Cox, Alberta McCall, Norman Little Jr., Mary Doggett, and Crispus Attucks. Moment of silence. Thank you very much. The chair moves that when the councilor adjourns today, and so in memory of the aforementioned individuals, it is scheduled to meet again on Wednesday, March 25th at 12 o'clock noon. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The council is adjourned. Enjoy.